Welcome home, students. Today you will need some paper to write on, some pencil, and if you're taking this live, which this is not the live recording, but if you're coming back, please sign in. My name is Ms. Yamasaki. I'm in room 111. I am here to give you homework help after school and small group instruction. So today, for algebra students, we're going to focus on statistics because that's going to be your first chapter. So I thought I'd review our measures of central tendency. Okay? So when we do data analysis, we look at multiple types of data. And we look at the range, we look at measures of central tendency. And within our measures of central tendency, we have our mean, our median, and our mode. Okay? Now what that means is, where does the data mostly tend to fall? That's what measures of central tendency are. Where does the data tend to fall? For instance, if I ask kids, what's your favorite ice cream? Where would most kids, what flavor would most kids say? So that's what we're looking at when we look at measures of central tendency. We have a mode, which is the frequency, how often it occurs. Like if most people choose a number, like, 500 people out of 700 choose chocolate, that would be our mode. Our median is the middle number, and our mean is the average. Okay? So for instance, here we go. I've got 5 pieces of, 5 pieces of data, numerical data. And to find the range, we're going to look for our highest value to our lowest value. Okay? Now our mean, on the other hand, there's going to be some math involved. And so here, first let's finish up our range. We're going to go from our highest value, 40, subtract the range, the minimum value, 10, and so our range covers 30. Okay? So we can say there's a spread of about 30 that the range covers. Okay, if I'm going to look for the measures of central tendency, then I would definitely suggest that you get a calculator, because generally the data sample is not this small. So our mean, what we're going to do is we need to add up all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. So we're going to add up all the numbers, find the sum, and then we're going to divide by the number of numbers. So here we're doing 10 plus 20 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40. And since there are 5 numbers, we're going to divide that total by 5. So when I add that up, 30, 50, 80, and 40 is 120 divided by 5. So the mean, which is basically an average, would be 24. Okay? The mean, the average would be 24. Okay, our median. Median is when we put all the numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay? You have to put them in order from least to greatest. Now, as it happens, our data is in order. So 10, 20, 20, 30, 40. And then we basically take our middle number. So it's not the 2 outside ones, it's not the 2 inside ones, but it is the middle number. So that median would be 20. Okay? Median means middle. So our median number is 20. And then, of course, we've got our mode, which is the most frequent. Which number occurs the most? And in this case, it would be 20. So 20 is also our mode. It's our median, and our mean is 24. Pause the recording if you'd like to take some notes. All right, I'm going to go back really quick in case you want me to pause the recording for the other page for the notes. Okay, pause it if you need the notes, and we're going to move ahead. All right, so organizing data. Here's a data set. Let's just say these are quiz grades, okay, quiz grades. on a quiz I gave, and 9 was the possible maximum. Okay, we can arrange those in what we call a line plot, where I make a baseline of all the data. We know our minimum is 4, our maximum is 9, and we can arrange it by little X's or dots on the, so for every one I make, I'm going to put it on the graph. So 5, right, 6, I'm going to place here. There's another 6, I put it on top. 7, 8, 9. I want you to pause and finish the rest on your own. All right, let's check our work. So let's look at our end result and check your work. So on the 4, you should have 1x. On the 5, you should have 2 x's. On the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 7, there's 3 of them. On the 8, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the 9, there's 2. So we can look at what would be our minimum. Our minimum would be 4. What is our maximum? Our maximum would be 9. What is the mode? Mode, remember, is the most occurring number. Hopefully you guessed 6. And then our mean, well, we'd have to add all those numbers up and then divide by those number of numbers. I don't have that off the hand. And our median would be somewhere in the middle of between 6 and 7, so about 6.5 would be the middle number. Okay, so now we can also use something called a frequency table too. Now this is just for organizing the data, okay? We don't have to do the mean, median, mode, but it helps us to definitely see the mode. Median's a little bit harder. Our minimum, our maximum. These are just ways to organize this data that's all out of shape. We can do a frequency table. Every time I see a number, I'm going to put a tick mark. So there's a 5, there's a 6, there's a 6, there's a 7, there's an 8. So I'd like you to stop and finish this frequency table. All right, let's check our work. So you should have had 1 at 4, 2 at 5. Every time you get 4, the 5th one, you cross it out. 5, 6, 7, 3 at 7, 5 at 8, and 2 at 9. So it's just ways to organize our data. Now, another way is something called a stem and leaf plot. Okay? So the stem actually stands for your tens digit, and your leaf stands for your ones digit. Okay, your ones digit. So notice we have, well, it would be tens or hundreds digit. So for 78, I'm going to just put an 8 here, right? For 73, I'm putting a 3 here, and I try and put them in order. For 64, I'm putting the 4 here, right? Just kind of further down because there's other 60s. There's a 62, a 61. Okay, for 85, I'm going to put it probably about here. For 91, I'll put it close. So I'm putting them in order. 104, there's no other 100, so we can put it right there. 62, why don't you try the rest? Pause the recording. Now let's check. 62. Go here. 80, the 0 is going to go here. 92 goes here. 75 goes about here because there's another 73. 84 goes here. 73, we add that extra 3, and then I have a 61 and a 96. Now, how do I read that? When you see a stem and leaf, this number right here means 104. This number right here means 91. If I'm reading it, this means This with this means 92. Okay? 9 with the 6 means 96. So it's a way to put things in order. Okay, and then I've got 80, 84, 85, 73, 73, 75, 78. So that's another way that we can organize our data, stem and leaf plot. All right, so now we're going to find their mean, median, and mode. And I would suggest you're using a calculator, especially a graphing calculator, something that you can see the list, make sure you've input the data correctly. So when we find the mean, the first thing we're going to do is, I like to put it in order first. Well, they're not putting it in order. We're just going to add it up. We're going to go for the mean. We're going to add them all up. Remember, we find the sum of the numbers and divide it by the number of numbers. So try that right now. I want everybody to add this up. Pause your recording. Okay, so we are adding it up, and hopefully you got 131. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 numbers. So now finding the sum, we have to divide by 7. And we have about 18 and 7/10. So the mean is about 18 and 7/10. Now, our median is our middle number. Before we can do that, we have to arrange these from least to greatest. So my minimum is 12, and my maximum is 25. Now, we're going to go into the middle. We're going to look for the middle number. Okay? 2, 2, 3, 3. So my middle number is 18. So my median is 18. Okay? Mode. What is the most occurring number? Let's see, do any of the numbers repeat? And it looks like they don't. So in this case, if no numbers repeat, there's no frequency, then we say no mode. Am I missing something? No, no mode. Okay, it's your turn. I'd like you to find the mean, median, and mode. Pause the recording and go. All right, let's check it out. So I'm adding all my numbers up, and I ended up with 522 divided by 6. Okay, so my mean is 87. My median, I had to put them in order from least to greatest. 62 was my smallest one, and I'm going to find my middle number. And actually, I just used my fingers. Now, notice when you have two numbers in the middle, you add them up and take an average. So in this case, since there was no middle number, we're going to have to add them up and divide by 2. So it would be 89 and 5/10. Okay? And my mode, this time we have a mode, and hopefully you got 84. Okay? So that's our mean, median, and mode. Those are our measures of central tendency. Say that. Measures of central tendency. Range is not part of it. Range is how far. Measures of central tendency is where the data mostly tends to land. Like if you have a bunch of tests that you give and the lowest score is a 10%, but most kids are getting from 70% on, the measures of central tendency would go from 70 on. Okay, in this case, my range, however, I would take the biggest number, 101, and subtract the smallest, and I can find the range. The spread goes from about 39 digits. But remember, range is not really part of that measure of central tendency. It could be an outlier. Like, there could be an outlier in that range. It just is the highest to the lowest. All right, we're going to pause on this because we've been, okay, so let's go here. Use the line plot below to find the following. So now they're giving us the information on a line plot, so we're going to say we have a 10. Let's list one 10 plus two 12s. I have to add a 10. Careful, let's go here. Let's add an extra thing. So here I'm adding, I'm in drawing mode. We're actually using our organization of the line plot. 10 plus 12 plus 12 plus 13 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 14s. And that's what we're adding up, okay? So pause the recording and try that one on your own. Let's get the mean. Okay, so hopefully when you added it, you got 133, and we're dividing by 1, 2. Remember, how many numbers? We have to count the quantity. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my mean would be divided by 10, and that would be 13 3/10 is our mean. My middle number, again, as I expand those numbers out, I guess you could do it here. I'm going to cross off. See how they do it? Cross off 1, cross off 1, cross off 2, cross off 2, cross off 3, cross off 3, 4, cross off 4, cross off 5. The middle number is right here. It's between these two, so it's going to be a 14. 14 is the median. Let's see if they show a better example of that. So it's 14 plus 14 divided by 2, since there's two middle numbers. All right, my mode, what occurs the most, is the 14. And my range would be 15 minus 10. So that would be 5. All right, using the stem and leaf. Let's see, let's go. So remember, this is like having a 60, a 61. What I'd really actually like to do is to cut from here. I'm going to cut off this. Let's look at this last example, and then we're going to go to box and whisker. So let's go. We've got our mean. So we've got 60 plus 61, 52, 53. So let's write those numbers out. And I want you guys to find our last one, mean, median, mode, and range. So we've got 60, 61, 52. Oh, I'm going from the highest. Let's start from the bottom. Let's go 22, 25, 25, 31, 32, 40, 43, 44, 44, 45, 52, 53, 56, 58, and I have 60 and 61. Okay? Now let's find our mean, add those numbers up, and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 16. All right, let's check our work. So our mean is 691 divided by 16, so it's about 43.2. My median, again, I likely would cross cancel. I wouldn't cross cancel. I would just start from the lowest number to the highest number. Right? 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. No, whoops, sorry. It should go here. 1, 7, 7, that's right. And so my middle numbers are there. Sorry, I got lost there. So divided by 2, it's going to be 44. There we go. And our mode, what occurs the most, is 44. And there's a 25. There's two 25s. So you can have more than one mode. Okay, my range goes from the lowest 22 to 61. So 61 minus 22 is 39. All right, I guess I will finish this one up. Ben has an average of 78% on his first 5 tests. What grade will he need on his next test to raise his test average to 80%? So let's look at that. Okay. Well, we know that the mean he currently has 78. What we don't know is the sum. So let's divide it by 5, and then we'll know that 390 is the sum. So now we need to take that sum, and we actually have to make it so he's going to get 80 has to equal. 80 has to equal. Let's say X is the next test grade, and so we're going to take that plus 80 has to be 390 plus that last test grade, all divided by 6. So now I can multiply both sides by 6. We have 480, subtract that 390 out, and so he needs a 90 on the next test. Hopefully this is giving you a little bit of perspective. Okay, and let's try one more. Sheila has 89% average on her first 7 quizzes. If she's allowed to drop her lowest score, her average will increase to 92%. What score will she drop? Well, let's start with our mean. Okay? So if our mean is 89, is the sum. Okay? Now this time, we want the new score to be 92, or X will be our lowest score, but our mean is 92, so we're going to take that sum, 623, subtract the lowest score, and divide by 6. There we have it. Just a little perspective. They're going to go through a lot more of this once you start. All right, I want to show you one more form of statistics that you will be needing, which is something called the box and whisker plot. Okay, as I mentioned, you will be needing I'm going to pause this and start another video. Okay, so we'll start on the box and whisker in the next video.